giant leap for mankind.
Columbia, this is Houston, AOS, over.
Casing believes they had the resources to pull off a hoax if they couldn't make it to the moon.
The reason I believe that NASA and the government faked the moon landing was basically it was technically impossible to do it. And they simply had to come up with some sort of alternative that they felt the public would believe.
Up next.
Tranquility Base here.
If the lunar module landed with 10,000 pounds of thrust, why is there no blast crater? Plus, was this footprint really made on the moon? And later, 10 astronauts die under strange circumstances. How far could the conspiracy reach?
So?
Yeah, I kind of get it. I definitely see where they're coming from.
God, come on, man. This is cool. People have really invested a lot of time and money into exposing the moon landing for what it really was.
A hoax?
Yes, exactly. Dude, I'm serious. Think about it. How can the American flag be waving on the moon? There's no wind in space. How can the American flag wave without wind?
I don't know, man. You got me there.
It's so typical of us.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot of work to go through just to make it look like we went to the moon first. Like, why not spend the money to make sure we actually went?
Well, that's the thing, though. That we did want to go to the moon. For real, like a lot. That's why Kennedy and Johnson put a bunch of money into the space program, but Russia was kicking our ass. They kept beating us to it. You know, they had the first man to go into space ever, and the U.S. is just like, what the hell?
Okay.
So we tried to build a rocket to get us there, but it was too dangerous. So NASA was like, why don't we just film a fake moon landing on Earth, broadcast it all over the world, and trick everyone into thinking we were on top. That's why the flag is waving.
You're so weird sometimes.
Not really.
You're always showing me these trippy stories, like multiple universes and aliens and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't really believe in that. The moon landing is definitely fake, though, no doubt.
How is this any different than all that others?
Because there's so many layers to it, man. Wait, listen to me for a second, all right? It's the 60s, so the Cold War is going on, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's concerned about what everyone else is doing. What nukes do Russia have? What is the U.S. planning next? Then on top of all that, we're exploring space, the final frontier. But are we exploring space out of genuine interest, or just to prove that we can?
Uh-huh.
When you think about it, the space race is just a little petty fight within the grander scheme of the Cold War. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was a distraction, but it was like a side project.
Well, people thought the Russians would, like, nuke us from space. That's what Miss White said a few weeks ago anyway.
I mean, yeah. Alright, so it's not really a side project, just a weird niche part of the whole thing. I don't know. I guess to me, the moon landing and the space race and all of that sounds like it was a little something for the US and the Soviets to get some anger out. But it didn't address any of the, like, real problems they had.
It was a war, dude. There's never really a point to any of it. People just fight to fight, you know? Doesn't really matter why.
No. People always do things for a reason. For example, if I punched you in the face right now, I'd have to have some sort of reason to do it. So let's say I punched you for thinking the moon landing was real. That's the reason right there.
Or you could just be upset and irrational.
Yeah, but even if I did do it because I was mad, you could even dig deeper and say I punched you because I was upset that you didn't show enough interest in something I cared about. It's the layers. But back to the moon landing, the reason they faked it was so that the US would look better than the Russians. But you could also argue that the desire came from our ego, or even insecurity, if we're being real. Like, we couldn't lose. It wasn't even an option. We had to make ourselves feel like the best, the strongest, the freest, or whatever. And if you can't make it, you might as well fake it. Better than actually having to acknowledge that you're not all that. What's wrong with you?
What? Nothing. Let's just finish watching your space thing.
Alright, nice. If you wanted the first part, this next one will seriously get you thinking.
They're setting up the flag now. I guess you're about the only person around that doesn't have TV coverage of the scene.
That's all right, I don't mind a bit.
They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar
Flag
surface.
up now, and you can